reproductive system. Okay, so no structure, this is the thing that you have to know lah. Maksudnya, apa yang pentingnya untuk human reproductive system ni, awak kena tahu struktur, label dan function human reproductive system. Okay, ada 3 subtopik. Ada tiga learning objective kat dalam subtopik 4.2. Which is the first one, you have to know structure, label, function of human reproductive system. And then you have to know physical change during puberty. Puberty tu apa? Puberty tu apa?
Balik.
Okay, so matang lah. Okay, dalam keadaan awak akhir balik macam mana. Okay, compare male and female gametes. Okay, so what is a male gamete? Sperm and female gamete?
Ovum.
Okay, alright, ovum. So ada tiga learning objektif dan benda ni yang awak kena score. Topik ni masih agak panjang tapi sebenarnya benda ni adalah benda yang kehidupan seharian awak sebenarnya. Okay, so ada beberapa benda yang memang you kena ingat lah. Dan ada beberapa benda yang memang benda tu tak ingat pun awak akan ingat sendiri. Alright, okay. Okay, next. Okay, so kita pergi dulu. This one is okay, male. Ini adalah apa? Female reproductive system. Okay. Dan male reproductive system. So kita tengok dulu male reproductive system. Okay, so ada apa dekat sini? Benda yang penting awak kena tahu. Kita ada seminal vesicle. Okay, scrotum, testis, penis, sperm duct, lepas tu utera, prostate gland. Okay, so tengok betul-betul dekat mana kedudukan dia. Okay, semivesicle dekat sini. Ni nampak yang kecil ni. Okay, lepas tu kita ada scrotum, testis, penis, okay, sperm duct. Okay, sperm duct kat sini. Okay, urethra, prostate gland. Teacher rasa gambar teacher ni macam dah cukup clear dah untuk awak tengok. Okay, kalau tak clear awak boleh tengok pada buku teks awak. Alright, so kita akan pergi one by one. Okay, the first one kita pergi dulu testis. Okay, so testis berada di mana? Okay, testis berada di sini. Okay, so this is testis. Okay, so dekat sini produce male gamete. Okay, so function testis ni dekat testis lah yang male gamete ataupun sperm, okay, and male sex hormone is produced. Okay, di mana? Di testis. Okay, dekat testis awak tu, okay, dia akan produce male gamete, sperm and male sex hormone di situ. Alright. Okay, so itu testis. Okay, tengok kat mana kedudukan dia sebab kalau dalam soalan exam dia suruh label, awak kena label. Okay, so awak kena tahulah kedudukan tu kat mana. Okay, so yang ini adalah scrotum. Okay, scrotum ni sebenarnya dia yang hold and protect the testis. Okay, bermaksud testis tu berada di dalam, okay, dalam scrotum tu. Maksudnya dia macam apa, sarung kan. Dia yang hold and protect the testis. Itu scrotum. Okay, so this is scrotum. Okay, and then we have sperm duct. Okay, so apa function sperm duct? Okay, sperm duct dia transportkan sperm, okay, daripada testis pergi ke urethra. Kiranya dia ni macam satu apa? Dia yang saluran. Okay, dia transportkan sperm. Okay, tengok kat mana sperm duct tu. Okay, so daripada testis ni, nampak tak? Testis ni, sperm duct ni. Ni. Okay. Betul tak? Boleh tarik. Okay. Dia akan bawa ke mana? Ke urethra. Okay, ke urethra. Ni urethra. Urethra kat tengah-tengah ni. Okay. And then kita ada semivesicle. Kalau tengok semivesicle tu kecil je kat situ. Okay, dia secretes nutritional fluids for the sperm. Okay, maksudnya dia merembeskan. Okay, merembeskan nutritional fluid for the sperm. Okay, untuk sperm tu dia akan macam bagi vitamin lah dekat sperm tu sebenarnya. Okay, dia macam apa? support sperm tu. Sebab sperm ni kalau dia tak sihat, dia tak boleh nak bergerak sampai ke uretra tu juga kan. Dia macam perjalanan dia macam agak jauh juga kat situ. Alright. Okay, lepas tu kita ada prostate gland. Prostate gland. Okay, prostate gland akan merembeskan cecair, contain nutrients and protect sperm cell. Okay, lebih kurang sama je dengan seminal vesicle tadi. Okay, so dia akan merembeskan cecair, fluid tu cecair. Okay, untuk apa? Untuk yang mengandungi nutrien dan dia akan melindungi sperm cell tu. And then urethra. Okay, urethra channel to discharge sperm and urine from the body lah. Okay, dekat saluran tu, saluran untuk saluran kencing awak dan mengeluarkan sperm tu di urethra. Okay, and then penis. Okay, transfer sperm into vagina of the female during copulation. Alright, so iaitu semua orang dah tahulah, tak payahlah cerita kan. Okay, ditransferkan sperm into vagina of the female during copulation. Alright, okay, so kita tengok ada berapa Ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, ada 7. Alright, so jadi nanti okay, untuk next nota awak sediakan bila cerita pasal male reproductive system ni, okay, buat satu table, okay, tulis dia punya organ apa. Okay, tulis apa organ dia and function. So tulislah setiap ni. Okay, satu nota teacher dah bagi dah dekat dalam worklet tu. So tengok je and then buat nota macam ni. Alright. So teacher nak awak lukis juga di dalam buku, dalam nota awak. Kenapa kena lukis? Okay, sebab awak kena tahu kedudukan ni kat mana. Okay, scrotum kat mana, testis yang mana, penis yang mana, urethra, saluran ni, sperm duct yang mana. So, tolong lukis kat tepi. Lepas tu sebelah dia ada benda ni. Alright, so tolong buat. Jangan sampai teacher kata teacher dah kutip baru awak buat. Teacher dah pesan awal-awal. So, I'm going to collect anytime I want. Okay, so please. Right, okay. So, habis dekat male reproductive system. Okay, kita pergi pada female reproductive system. Okay, rasanya female ni dia lebih ringkas. Okay, lagi awak nampak lagi senang. Okay, di mana kita ada ovary. Okay, kita ada ovary, ada tube fallopian. Okay, and then kita ada cervix, vagina, uterus. Okay, so kita pergi one by one. Okay, the first one kita pergi ovary dulu. Okay, kalau dekat male reproductive system tadi, siapa yang menghasilkan dia punya gamet? Siapa yang menghasilkan sperm? Testis. Okay. Testis tu dipegang oleh Scrotum. Alright. Tapi berbeza pula dengan daripada female reproductive system. Okay, yang akan producekan ovum adalah ovary. Okay, so ingat ovum, ovary. Okay, so produce female gamete and female sex hormone lah. Okay, sama juga macam testis, dia akan produce male sex hormone. Okay, so and then kita ada tube fallopian. Okay, kalau tengok tube fallopian tu dia berada di dia berada kat sini tau. Maksudnya dia dekat ovary. Lepas tu ada tube fallopian. Dia macam gitu. Okay, so apa function dia? Dia adalah, okay, dekat mana berlakunya fertilization? Dekat tube fallopian lah akan berlakunya fertilization. Okay, fertilization maksudnya, okay, titik temu sperm dengan ovum ni berada di fallopian tube. Okay, so dekat sini lah bermulanya fallopian. Tak kisahlah antara sini dengan sini lah. Okay, so kita ada ovary ni ada 2. Okay, lepas tu tube fallopian pun ada 2 lah. Okay, means kalau ada orang dia buang satu ovary, dia still boleh mengandung sebab dia ada lagi satu ovary. Okay, so macam mana dia mengeluarkan ovum tu kalau ikut monthly kan? Tu nanti kita cerita nanti masa bab seterusnya kita hit. Okay, so selalunya dia bergilir. Okay, bergilir kiri dan kanan. Alright. Okay, seterusnya kita ada uterus. Uterus adalah tempat di mana embryo akan develop and grow. Okay, so kalau dalam bahasa senang ni kita panggil apa kat sini? Apa? Kalau in PM kita panggil apa? Anak tu duduk dalam kat mana?
Rahim.
Kat rahim lah. Okay, so dia dekat rahim, dekat womb ni. Okay. Dia duduk dekat womb ni. Alright, so dekat situ uterus tu adalah place. Okay, maksudnya bukanlah baby tu duduk kat perut awak. Okay, dia duduk dekat dalam rahim, dekat uterus lah. So kiranya dia membesar di sini. Okay, mengembang kat sini. Okay, dia berlaku persenyawaan kat mana? Kat tube fallopian. Alright. Okay, next kita ada cervix. Okay, produce mucus, enable sperm to swim into the uterus. Okay, lepas tu kita ada vagina, receive sperm, okay, channel through, okay, so which baby is born, so dekat sinilah baby akan keluar, okay, so yang inilah yang orang beranak sakit tu, so bayangkanlah macam mana keadaan sempit tu dan macam mana boleh membesar untuk mengeluarkan kepala baby tu. So itulah awak kena tahu pengorbanan mak-mak awak semua dalam melahirkan awak. Jadi jangan melawan cakap mak. Okay. So kenapa kena tahu? Kenapa benda ni adalah knowledge untuk awak? Sebabnya lelaki pun kena tahu benda ni. Okay. Walaupun hanya perempuan je yang akan melahirkan anak. Tapi benda knowledge macam ni lelaki pun kena tahu. Okay. Kenapa? Sebab untuk awak appreciate lah. Appreciate mak ayah, mak awak. Okay. Macam mananya sakitnya bersalin tu. Macam mana nak mengandungkan awak 9 bulan tu. Tu semua adalah benda yang awak kena tahu supaya awak tahu macam mana payahnya nak melahirkan, macam mana proses tu berlaku dari segi saintifiknya, so that you lebih menghargai sebenarnya. Alright, okay. So ada soalan untuk learning objective yang pertama, which is human reproductive system, male and female.
Tak ada.
Kalau awak perasan kan dia macam apa orang kata dia yang kalau perempuan tu lagi senang nak ingat lah sebab dia tak banyak. Okay, so sama juga bila buat nota, pastikan awak lukis. Okay, lukis kan, dan lukis pun lagi senang sebenarnya. Okay, lagi senang lukis yang human reproductive system untuk female. Lepas tu macam teacher kata, sebelah lukisan awak buat satu table, okay, dan dia punya function dan berserta dengan dia punya organ-organ dia kat situ. Alright. Okay, so organ-organ ni yang membentuk sistem. Okay, kita ada tube fallopian, and then ovary, uterus, vagina. Okay, so dia akan membentuk satu sistem which is kita panggil sebagai human reproductive system. Okay, so sebenarnya dekat dalam buku teks awak dah ada dah macam ni. Okay, page 98 ni. 98 sampai 9 ni dah ada dah. Okay, so salin je balik dan nota, buat cantik-cantik, buat elok-elok. Okay, so ada soalan tak?
Tak ada.
Tak ada.
Tak ada, sure?
Sure.
Okay, kejap kita cuba tengok. Teacher sebenarnya dah nak tunjuk video kat awak. Mana okay. Ni female. Okay, sebelum kita masuk yang poverty tu. Sekejap. Alright. Okay. Nampak tak screen teacher?
Nampak.
Okay.
So in this video, let us learn about the male reproductive system. To begin with, we take a look
Dengar kan?
Dengar.
Okay.
at the location where the sperms are exactly produced. These oval-shaped structures on either side are the ones we are referring to. The single structure is called testis, while the pair is called testes or simply a pair of testicles. Now these are an important part of the system and need to be protected, right? So we have a covering of skin over it. This forms a bag-like structure, and do we have a name for it? Yes, the bag-like structure is called the scrotum. So the scrotum is the pouch which contains the testis. Now the sperms produced will have to travel in order to reach the female body. So who will make sure that the sperms are carried outside the testes? This responsibility is taken up by the mass of coils that we can see here. This is called the epididymis and the pair is called the epididymides. The mass then carries
Okay, just tengok mana yang dalam buku teks awak je. Maksudnya kalau yang tak ada tu tak payah ni lah. Okay, just tu tambahan knowledge untuk awak je.
the sperms to this single connecting long coil. This is called the vas deferens. Where will the deferens carry it further? Directly out.
Vas deferens tu nama lain bagi apa? Siapa yang bawa?
Sperm duct.
Sperm duct, yes.
Outside the body? No, they will carry it into something called as the ejaculatory ducts. But where does the ejaculatory duct head to? It heads to a destination where the sperms get mixed with the nourishing fluid. Wait a second, what kind of fluid are we referring to? And why is it needed here? Basically, the sperms need nourishment to survive. Also, they need to be protected from acidic conditions coming their way. Hence, various glands come to the rescue by secreting a few important secretions. The first one is the seminal vesicle. It secretes a fluid that helps in nourishing the sperms. Can you see this bulb-like structure here? It is the prostate gland which helps in secreting the prostate fluid. Now the sperms floating in the fluids reach the urethra from where they can be released outside the body. But wait, all the secretions are not yet completed. This P-shaped gland found here gives another important secretion. It is called the Cooper's gland or even the bulbourethral gland. Now with this secretion, the formation of semen is complete. The semen is simply the fluid carrying the sperms. It is carried out by the urethra which runs through the penis. Now these sperms will reach the female reproductive system and only one among all will be able to carry out the fertilization of the ovum. But tell me one thing. Looking at the structure of this single sperm, can you guess whether it is a unicellular or a multicellular structure?
Unicellular ke multicellular? Adakah dia sel dia unicellular atau multicellular? You rasa-rasa?
Unicellular.
Uni. Ada yang rasa multi?
Uni.
Okay, kita tengok
It is a single cell.
Unicellular. Dia single cell je.
Although the structure may not seem to be that of a single cell, the sperm is definitely unicellular. It bears a head region called the nucleus. Then it has this middle part with the mitochondria for providing energy to swim across. But then who will help in the swimming process physically? That's the business of the tail region. The tail helps in the swimming activity. Now we are done with the basics of the male reproductive system. Let me quickly recap the process we saw above. The sperms are produced by the testes. The mass of coils called the epididymis carries the sperms to the vas deferens, which is a long coil. From there, it goes to the ejaculatory duct where it gets mixed with nourishing fluids. From there, it reaches the urethra. And after the secretion from the Cooper's gland, the formation of semen is complete. So what will we learn before the fertilization process? Of course, the female reproductive system.
Okay, tengok female reproductive system pula. Okay, so nampak awak, kalau awak tengok ni macam agak lebih faham lah sebenarnya. Okay, macam ni. Okay.
Who's ready to hatch some cool pets? Click here to make your very own
Okay.
Fertilization and the uterus are all a part of the female reproductive system. Let's have a look at this important system in this video. Do you remember where we began studying the male reproductive system? Yes, it was the site of sperm production. Similarly, we will begin learning from the site of production of the egg cell or simply the ovum. So the journey begins from these oval structures called the ovaries, one ovary on either side. Did you notice that the ovaries are connected to these tube-like structures? but they're not connected directly. If we look at it carefully, we find that there are finger-like projections which connect the two. These finger-like projections are very important for receiving the ovum when released from the ovaries. But do they have a scientific name? Yes, these finger-like projections are called the fimbriae. The fimbriae help to hold the ovum released and also help to sweep it to the tubes present ahead. But why does the ovum require the sweeping activity? Can't it travel on its own? No, it can't. Unlike the motile sperm, the ovum is non-motile. It cannot move until it is pushed or swept by some other cells. Now, these tube-like structures that we are referring to since a long time also have a scientific.
Okay, ingat dia kata just ambil benda yang macam ada dalam buku teks awak sebab yang ni dia mungkin dia syllabus dia lebih tinggi kan. So dia banyak belajar macam dia kata ovum tak boleh bergerak, perlukan sweeping benda ni supaya boleh menolak dia pergi ke tube fallopian. Tu awak tak perlu tahu, just untuk awak punya knowledge tambahan sajalah.
Scientific name. They are called as the fallopian tubes. And what do you think will be their importance? Let me guess. Is it that they connect the ovaries to the uterus? Yes, that is definitely one important function. But more important than this is the fact that the fallopian tubes are the site of fertilization. Yes, it is the fallopian tubes where the sperms are able to fertilize the ovum. And from here, the zygote starts dividing and grows into an embryo. Now, where will this embryo go further? Needless to say, the uterus. We know that the uterus, commonly referred to as the womb, is the site of development of a baby. And when the growth of the baby is completed, it comes out of the mother's body through the vagina. Do we know what the vagina is? It is basically a small passage that opens to the exterior. It is the site where sperms are received in the female's body. On the other hand, the same passage is used for passing the baby out of the body during childbirth. Now that you've learned both the reproductive systems, can you tell me which one is more complex than the other one?
Mana kompleks lagi?
Male.
Male.
Just think for a moment. If you think it is the male reproductive system, then you may be wrong. Yes, the female reproductive system is more complex. The system is designed for the complete process of fertilization as well as the growth and the development of the baby. That is the reason why it is slightly more complicated compared to the male reproductive system. This was just an overview of how the female reproductive system is. We would get to know how every organ in this system works efficiently when we understand the process of fertilization and the development process of the embryo in detail. For that, you need to watch our next video.
Okay, so nantilah untuk next kelas kita akan tengok okay, about fertilization and so maksudnya kenapa dia kata female lagi kompleks, sebab female dia akan dalam dia punya human reproductive system tu, dekat situ berlaku je fertilization juga kan, which is benda tu tak ada untuk lelaki. Alright, okay. Ada soalan?
Tak ada.
Okay, boleh kita proceed?
Boleh.
Alright, kejap kita share balik dia punya screen dekat iPad ni. Okay, alright, so habis dekat situ. Okay, so kita pergi pada kita punya learning objective yang kedua, which is yang ini rasanya awak boleh baca sendiri pun awak dah faham dah sebenarnya. Okay, this is physical change that occur during puberty. Alright, okay, so apa perbezaan antara lelaki dengan perempuan? Cuba tengok dekat page 101 buku teks awak tu. Okay, so perbezaan apabila kita akhir balik kan, kita dah capai puberty tu. Okay, kalau male, okay, male dia punya vocal cord, okay, vocal cord enlarge. Kalau senang cerita kita kata suara dia makin pecah lah, suara pecah kan. So tak adalah suara dia sama masa dia baby dulu, masa dia kecil dulu suara dia makin besar. Okay, and then this is the dia punya struktur badan, okay, muka, okay, awak tumbuh misai, okay, janggut, okay, hair grow on the face, armpit, benda-benda ni semua awak akan menghadapi nantilah. Okay, cumanya perbezaan orang, ada orang cepat, ada orang lambat. Okay, so memang kalau normalnya memang akan ada lah. Okay, cumanya cepat dengan lambat je. Okay, puberty tu berlaku. Alright, ada orang cepat, dia tengok hormon kita sebenarnya. Okay, and then this is the physical change that occur during puberty jugalah. Untuk badan, hair grow on the face, armpit, chest. Okay, testis produce sperm and sex hormone. Orang kata apa? Dah mimpi. Tu sebenarnya kalau ikut saintifiknya, inilah dia keadaan dia apabila testis sudah produce sperm and sex hormone. Itu adalah tanda puberty lah. Okay, and then hair grow at pubic region, penis, scrotum enlarge, alright. Okay, so itu untuk lelaki, untuk perempuan sama juga, lebih kurang je dia tumbuh bulu dekat ketiak, okay, makin besar. Okay, physical change, badan dia pun semakin besar, breast grow, hip become firm and broader. Okay, benda-benda ni semua awak akan hadapi benda tu. Okay, dan bila dia dah sampai satu tempoh yang puberty dia akan period. Okay, sama juga. Period ni tak adalah semua orang akan datang pada masa yang sama. Okey, maksudnya period ni dia akan datang tengok orang. Okey, so ada orang period dia cepat, ada orang period dia lambat. Okey, so kalau ada masalah ke? Tak ada pun. Tapi kalau ikut selalunya dia akan datang sebelum dia selalunya form 1, darjah 6 pun ada. Okey, ada yang kita tengok badan juga sebenarnya. Kalau badan tu big size ke, okay, kalau badan tu macam cepat matang ke, so dia cepatlah period. Okay, so awak jangan rasa kalau awak tak period tu awak abnormal. Okay, period tu ada juga orang yang lambat. Maksudnya memang dia jenis yang badan dia kecil ke kan. So ada yang form 2 pun baru nak period pun ada juga. Okay, alright. Okay, so habis yang learning objective yang kedua. Okay, sekejap saya nak buka. Okay, charger je. Okay, ada soalan tak kat situ?
Tak ada.
Alright, okay. So seterusnya kita nak compare pula male and female gamete. Okay, male and female gamete ni sperm dengan ovum lah. Okay, so dia punya structure pun dah berbeza, sperm dengan ovum. Okay. So, ini tak payahlah cerita. Okay. So, daripada kat mana dia produce? Okay. Testis, ovary. Okay. Male gamete dia boleh bergerak. Ovary dia kata not able to move. Okay. Dia tak boleh gerak. Kan tadi dia kata dia ada sweeping tu kan. Maksudnya dia kena ditolak lah untuk pergi ke tube fallopian. Okay. Smaller cell in the body. Okay. Sama juga. Sperm pun adalah smaller cell in the male body. Okay, itu perbezaan dia. Alright. Tu je lah sebenarnya untuk topik 4.2, 4.3 kan. Ni dah masuk 4.3. Okay, ada soalan tak?
Tak.
Tak ada Alright. Okay, so kalau tak ada, so teacher kena stop lah. Ustaz Wan tak ada, nanti sedang melalak dulu. Alright, so sampai situ sahaja. Next week,